Hey there, this is my first how-to video. I'll be showing you how to disassemble and assemble the AR-15. This one is the M&P-15 by Smith & Wesson, but every single AR-15 will have a similar platform, if not the same. Also M16s and M4s are pretty much the exact same procedures here, so pay attention if you have any of the following there. So first off, you want to make sure that your weapon is cleared, obviously, before dealing with it. Mine is. Here, a little trick someone showed me. The tip of the bullet here of your round is excellent for pushing these pins through. Kind of pushing them out. So here you have your two pins. This is your takedown pin. If you take that one out, it'll pivot on the pivot pin right here. Take that one out, and you have your rifle here now in two pieces. So here in the lower, you got your trigger assembly and your buffer. This right here is your buffer tube, which pretty easily comes out. Here's your buffer. The spring that takes the recoil. So pretty simple. One thing I was told, if you have a good buffer, you can shake it and you'll hear that noise, which is a good thing. You got a good buffer. Then you just push that back in and it will catch on that little buffer catcher, something like that. So on the upper receiver, you got a few pieces here. You got your charging handle, and inside here your bolt carrier group. So you'll want to pull the charging handle back, and that will release the bolt carrier group along with the charging handle. Right here in your BCG, you got a few main parts. You have your bolt, your gas key. Your firing pin sits in the middle, and you got a few pins that hold everything in. So first of all, to get a good clean on these, you need to take out the firing pin. Use a fingernail trying to get that firing pin retention pin. Looks like that. Look, a little tiny pin about 3/4 of an inch long. And once you take that out of the side, your firing pin, will come out. If you've got a good firing pin, you should be able to set it on the table and it will spin in a circle. You'll know it's not bent or anything like that. It's also very important to clean all these things as you take them apart. So here in the BCG, you'll want to push your bolt forward, and it kind of rotates your bolt cam pin right here. You can spin that. Now when you have the firing pin in, it will sit inside that bolt cam pin, and it will prevent you from spinning that. But when we took that out, it can spin freely, and now you can pull that out. See, there's that little hole right there that the firing pin will go through. The bolt cam pin holds your bolt inside the bolt carrier. So here on your bolt, you got two different sides of the hole, and this is important when you're reassembling. It will not fit through this side, only through one side. So pay attention when you're putting it back together. It'll save you some heartache, I guess. Right here you have your your gas rings, and they all should be intact. This is a fairly new rifle. They have little notches in each of the rings. There's 3 rings, and the idea between that is that you want to keep these away from each other. You do not want them to stack up like on top of each other, 1, 2, 3 like that. Keep them spread out along the bolt, and you'll be good. Now if you wanted to, you could take the bolt down farther. There's the extractor pin right here, and your extractor is inside there. There's a little spring inside there, so be pretty careful when you take that apart. I'm not going to in this video. So now to assemble the weapon, you'll take your bolt and your bolt carrier and just simply push it back there. Sometimes you got to give it a little bit of a push. It's interesting, you'll look on the bolt on the end of it, and there's like a little circle right there that you'll want to put in the 4 o'clock position. You can either have it in the 4 o'clock or the 11 o'clock, and these are the only two ways that you'll be able to, well, sorry, one of the ways you'll be able to put the bolt cam pin back in, which will be the 4 o'clock position. Like I said, there's only one way that the bolt cam pin can fit in, which is helpful if you're doing like speed, who can disassemble and assemble your weapon as fast. Make sure that that's a good little cheat for you, having that at the 4 o'clock position. So once I've put that in, then I will want to spin that like 90 degrees and pull it back. When I pull it back, it allows it to like line up so that you can then stick the firing pin back in to the bolt carrier group. So a good way to, well, let me see, I'll put this right back in there, the firing pin. It should sit flush, well, close to being flush right there, and then you'll want to put your firing pin, retaining pin, right back inside, and that goes quite a ways in there as well. Now you can see if everything's good. You can tap on it and that will not come out no matter what you do. So a good way to check if your gas rings are good, you'll pull your bolt all the way out, and there's a little bit of a play right there. Pull it all the way out and set it on its end like that. If it falls, the gas rings would need to be replaced. But if it holds itself up, you'll know that they're good. Okay, so then you've assembled your bolt carrier group. Now you want to put your charging handle back in. You kind of hold everything upside down because you're dealing with the weapon like this. It makes it easier. And it's important that you got these little grooves right here, or notches, that are key to putting this back in. If you look inside the upper receiver, there's a couple little grooves right there, which this has to slide into in order to go back in. So I like to keep it like about right there as I'm putting this back in. I forgot to mention these little notches along the side of the bolt carrier. Those are for the forward assist on your rifle right here. So basically, if you had a, let's say like the bolt didn't go all the way forward on a round and it's kind of pulled back a little bit, you'll hit that forward and it kind of like grabs a little portion of this and pushes that bolt all the way forward, and so it allows you to shoot. Anyways, a little side note there. So back to this, you'll want to make sure that charging handle is in there a little bit, and then you'll put the gas key, fits just right inside the charging handle, and then everything slides back in and you'll hear a click. You'll know that it's completely put back together. I like to close the dust cover to keep things clean. And then finally you'll put your pivot pin back in. I guess sometimes it's easier to do the other way. Push your takedown pin in and line it up just right for, sometimes there we go, for your pivot pin to go back in. Then charge your weapon. Pretty good, pretty simple, pretty easy. Don't be intimidated by cleaning your weapon. It's always good. Not as hard as you think. So that's all I have for you. Let me know how I did in the comments, and thanks guys. Hope to do some more videos.